Scott Ryan here. Thanks for joining me. Well, one tornado ripped through Oklahoma and caused, as they described it, a war zone-like devastation, and our hearts go out to them. Our thoughts and prayers and thoughts, more importantly. But you know it's coming. You know that the left loves to capitalize on the gullible. They cater to the gullible. They've created the gullible. They've gotten people where they are totally impressionable and willing to believe anything that government spoon feeds them, especially through their lapdogs, the media. It's obvious. I've been watching the Weather Channel for years, off and on, and you can see it's palpable how much control the left and their agenda has taken control of the Weather Channel, full of propaganda and green bull crap and save the earth, environmental nonsense. But you can count on the fact, because it's very similar to gun control. They have this down pat. I mean, they have mastered the technique of propounding solutions that have absolutely nothing to do with the problem. And it doesn't matter. All they have to do is whip people up into a frenzy, get them really sad or get them really angry, and manipulate their emotions and say that we've got to have a solution. We have got to solve this. We can solve this, they say about global warming. And it's just like gun control. You take a catastrophe, not a catastrophe, you take a heinous murder, and it's one that has nothing to do with the Second Amendment, one that has no correlation to God-fearing, freedom-loving Americans legally and properly using guns. But they take a situation that is actually more attributable to entertainment and violent culture, video games that simulate from the time the kids are children, or from the time that children are very young on up through adulthood, simulating murder and barbaric, brutal murder without any compunction, and totally desensitized. So nevertheless, you take the examples of those mass murders, those travesties, and you whip people up into a frenzy, and you get them to the point where they say, we've got to do something about this. Get people angry. We're going to do something about this. It has nothing to do with it. It's actually going to do nothing but make the problems worse. But as long as you're doing something about it, the government, the left, the Marxists manipulate them into supporting the masses, manipulated into supporting them in their agenda. And the same thing's coming with the weather. Weather happens. Weather comes in cycles. We're in the solar maximum, which every 11 years the sun is at its peak cycle. And if you look back over the past several days, based on the type of weather that I'm seeing this year, whenever we've had these extremely warm and humid days, if you look through the scientific evidence, there have been coronal mass ejections. There have been solar flares that have shot a great deal of radiation right at the Earth, and it takes up to 7 days to arrive here, depending. But they're going to exploit this. They're going to whip people up, and they're going to use bombastic words and melodrama in the media, just really showing the devastation and preying on people's emotions. They're going to show the sad stories, but they're going to link it with global warming or climate change. They're going to link it. There's nothing scientific. It's devious. It's outright lying. It is a malicious agenda to take away more of our freedoms, to subjugate us to international treaties that have no real legitimate jurisdiction over us. But they're going to whip people into a frenzy. It doesn't matter that the science is junk. It doesn't matter that these are treasonous liars, Democrats and some Republicans. They're going to push their agenda, and they're going to lie to people. And they're going to say, we have to do something about these tornadoes. We have to do something about this devastation, and predict, of course, major hurricanes, which might ensue, given the solar cycle that we're in. I could certainly conceive of the Atlantic being much warmer than average this year. But this is what we have to look forward to, whether you're talking about gun control or whether you're talking about global warming. It is an onslaught. It is a daily war against evil people who have hijacked, we're talking about a coup d'etat, hijacked our government, who are the enemy. They have these almost straw men that are, I mean, yes, fundamentalist Islam is an enemy. Terror is our enemy. But they don't even portray that correctly. But they tell us that we've got to give up all these rights. They want us to become more or just as tyrannical as any of those regimes that we're ostensibly defending ourselves against, all in the name of saving the environment, saving the children from gun violence, and defeating radical Islam. It's a sick world. You cannot let your guard down. You cannot afford to take a break, a coffee break from these people. They're sick. Thank you for joining me. I'm Scott Ryan.